Let's be honest, when most people are Googling teach English in China, they're really asking three specific things. First, the money, not what the salary looks like on paper, but whether you can actually build real savings, not just break even. Second, the reality check. Is China somewhere you'll genuinely feel okay living? And third, the day to day, because there is a difference between visiting a country for just 2 weeks and actually building a life there. Hey, I'm Ishbel. I've taught English in Thailand and across Europe in Hungary, Switzerland, and Germany. And for this series, I'm putting that same teacher's eye on work on a new country every week. Today, China. The country every TEFL teacher has an opinion about, and almost none of those opinions are current. To get you the most accurate answer possible, I've gone deep into the current visa rules, real salary data, the reports from teachers actually out there right now. So let's get into it. If you've watched any China TEFL videos before 2021, you can basically forget all of it. For years, China was the gold rush of English teaching. Companies like VIP Kid were paying teachers to do online lessons with Chinese children from their bedrooms, sometimes pulling in thousands of dollars a month part-time, no flights required. Then in July 2021, the Chinese government brought in something called the double reduction policy. In one move, they banned for-profit tutoring. They also banned foreign teachers based outside of China from teaching Chinese children online completely. Companies worth billions lost most of their value within a month. But here's the twist nobody tells you. The actual in-person teaching market, the one we're going to talk about today, is still very much alive. It just looks completely different now. So who can legally teach English in China in 2026? This is the strictest visa system of any major TEFL destination, so pay attention because getting this wrong is expensive and actually very risky. You need 5 things. 1, a bachelor's degree in literally any subject. It doesn't need to be English or education. 2, an accredited TEFL certification of at least 120 hours. That's not a suggestion, that's a number that's written directly into Chinese visa law. 3, a clean criminal background check, authenticated and apostilled. 4, you generally need a passport from one of these 7 countries. So the UK, Ireland, the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, or South Africa. And 5, you need to be under 60. And as part of this year, that age limit is being enforced properly with basically no exemptions. One myth to kill right now, China currently has visa-free entry for tourism for a lot of nationalities, including the UK and Canada. That does not mean that you can fly out there and start teaching. Working on that visa-free entry or on a tourist visa is illegal. So schools that suggest it are a massive red flag. You need a sponsored Z visa, full stop, and no shortcuts. Okay, so the bit you're actually here for, what can you earn? Salaries in 2026 generally sit between 14,000 and 45,000 RMB a month. That's roughly 1,900 to 6,000 US dollars. Public schools tend to sit around the lower end, and international schools and top training centers can push 35,000 plus, especially in Shanghai, Beijing, or Shenzhen. Ah, dear. Here's why China is genuinely one of the best saving destinations in the entire TEFL world. Cost of living outside the very top tier cities is low, and lots of contracts throw in free or subsidized housing, flights, and health insurance on top of the salary. It's common for teachers to save the equivalent of 2,000 US dollars a month or more. Quick practical tip, if you do end up there, you'll be paid in RMB into a Chinese bank account, and getting that money home efficiently matters more than people think. I had this exact same problem when I was in Thailand. So I personally use Wise for exactly this kind of international transfer. The fees and exchange rates are so much better than going through a normal traditional bank. The link is in the description if you want to get one set up before you go. Let's talk about what your actual week looks like teaching English in China. Public schools are the easiest way in for a first time teacher. Predictable Monday to Friday hours, roughly 12 to 18 teaching hours a week, big classes of 30 to 50 plus kids, but a genuine light workload outside of the classroom. Bilingual and international schools pay more and expect more, often a recognized teaching license or prior experience, smaller classes, and a curriculum closer to what you would see in the UK or the US. Then there's adult and business English training. This is part of the old tutoring industry that actually survived the double reduction policy because it's not classed as compulsory education. And on the comfort question I asked at the start, this is genuinely one of China's strongest points. It consistently ranks as one of the safest countries in the world to live in. Violent crime is rare. The bigger adjustment isn't safety, it's the language barrier and the sense of distance from home, which is exactly what the next section is about. 1. The Great Firewall is real. No Google, no YouTube, including this video, no Instagram, no WhatsApp, no Gmail, without a working VPN. And VPNs do sometimes get blocked too. If staying consistently connected to home matters to you, factor that in properly. 2. The paperwork is the heaviest of any TEFL destination. Apostilled degrees, apostilled background checks, medical exams, and once you're in, you're tied tightly to the employer who sponsored you. So switching jobs mid-contract is possible, but it's a real process and not a quick email. 3. The gold rush era is over. If you're going in expecting 2018 style get rich overnight money from teaching kids online from your sofa, that market doesn't exist anymore. 4. And this is brand new for 2026. Enforcement just got stricter. Beijing and Shanghai have started strictly enforcing salary thresholds and age limits again after a few quieter years. So that means have your paperwork genuinely correct because there's very little wiggle room left. Quickly, here's the actual process. You get hired, your school applies for your permit notification while you're still home, and you take that plus your degree, your 120-hour TEFL certificate, and your apostilled background check, and apply for your Z visa. You fly out with the 30 days, converted that your Z visa into a residence permit, which actually matches the length of the contract. And honestly, before you commit to any of this, get proper travel and health cover sorted. I use Safety Wing for exactly this kind of move. The link is in the description below. So, who is China actually right for? If you want some of the best saving potentials in the entire TEFL world, you're genuinely okay disconnecting from apps that you use at home, and you can handle a little bit of bureaucracy for a much bigger payoff. China is honestly one of the strongest options on the planet right now. If you want maximum flexibility, minimum paperwork, or you just need to stay glued to Instagram, this might not be your first stop, and that's completely fine. That's exactly why this is a series and not one video. And here's the thing that ties this whole video together. Remember that 120-hour TEFL requirement I mentioned at the start? That's not a random number, that's the actual legal minimum written into Chinese visa law. My accredited 120-hour course at GoTEFL meets that requirement exactly. It's linked right below in this video, and you can use the code GoTEFL10, which gets you 10% off. Let me know in the comments, would China be a yes or a no for you? And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!